Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Bills, and today we're dealing with the 2018 Jaguar I-Pace. Now it has 512 horsepower, 667 pounds-feet of torque from its two electric motors and lithium-ion batteries. Now weighs 3,729 pounds. Still has all-wheel drive, but it now has off-road tyres and off-road suspension, and it can do 0 to 60 in 3.142 seconds, 0 to 100 in 7.967 seconds, and going to a top speed of 164 miles an hour. Now I'm fully aware that this is nowhere near the most powerful car we've had on this series in terms of horsepower or torque, but the all-wheel drive is native to the car, and the electric motors and batteries will give it instantaneous power and torque out of the corners, so I'm hoping that that will prove advantageous with this car. Plus obviously it now has off-road tyres, which are really rather chunky, and the off-road suspension as well, which will give it the ride height that it needs. So yeah, and it obviously also weighs more than 1,000 pounds less than it did originally, which should help in terms of the handling, and certainly has helped in terms of acceleration, because it's about 1.4 seconds quicker to 60 than it was originally, and a good 5 or so seconds quicker to 100. So yeah, and this car was hardly a slow coach in its stock form. So yeah, I'm hoping that this will be a quick car for this series, and certainly our first mass-produced all-electric vehicle as well. So yeah, hoping it does a good showing. At least we don't have to worry about gears or anything like that. It is also weirdly silent, being obviously electric. Not getting up to a particularly high speed down here. Usually we're up above 140, sometimes above 160. So that is a bit of a worry. We are keeping a consistent rate of speed here. Not going to be particularly quick across the finish line like the Bentley from the previous episode at 138 miles per hour there, but we have nonetheless done a time of 2 minutes 6 seconds .520, which on the whole is reasonable, to be honest. It's considering it's got well over 100 horsepower less than most cars that are at the lower end of the horsepower range. That is yeah, fairly decent, but yeah, it's still far from the top, and it is nonetheless quicker than the likes of a Lancia Stratos HF Stradale, Subaru Impreza 22B STI, Chevrolet Impala Supersport, Ford Escort RS 1600, Jaguar CX75, Lancia Fulvia, Ram 2,500 power wagon, and a Ford No. 5 Escort RS 1800 Mark II rally car. It's slightly slower than a Nissan GTR, a Mercedes-Benz E350D, Hillman Imp, Subaru Impreza WRX STI, Renault Sport Clio, and a Renault Clio RS, Bentley Continental Supersports, and a Renault Alpine A110. So yeah, it is still nonetheless quicker than some cars that are meant for going off-road, like a Lancia and a Subaru, as well as a couple of Fords, and yeah, also a Ram, and even a Porsche Cayenne Turbo and Volkswagen Touareg. So yeah, considering it's got way less horsepower than a lot of cars that it's quicker than, and yeah, isn't all that far off cars that also had more horsepower than this. I mean, it's only 0.1 of a second off a Nissan GTR, which had infinitely more power than this. So yeah, overall fairly impressed, but again, this does show the limitations of electric vehicles, to be honest, especially a car that only had 394 horsepower originally, and yeah, can't really go any higher than 512. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame that you can't get even more power out of it, but again, that's the limitations of battery powered vehicles. You can only put so much batteries in them before you're either too heavy or yeah, don't have enough space. So yeah, that's a sad limitation, but overall a solid showing, and yeah, quite frankly, considering it's only got 512 horsepower, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.